Again, winning with blends. What we're going to do today is talk about two critical EQs, graphic EQ versus tuned EQ. Now, I'm not pitting these two together as though they are some adversaries of some sort. No, they work very well together. They're very similar, but one of them has a little bit more, let's say, customization to it. So why don't we dive right in? If it's your first time, of course, guys, like the channel. Why not? All right, let's do it. So first things first, graphic EQ versus tuned EQ. So both are 8-band EQs, as you see right here. Now, they're both, of course, very useful for boosting and or cutting frequencies, right? Graphic EQ is a little more or less straightforward, but like I said, the tuned EQ offers something more unique, and that is the BW setting, or the bandwidth control. All right, so what we're listening to right here is a tune that I made that is available in NFT form. So if you guys want to check it out, the link is actually in the description for the Mega Blends collection. Go ahead and check it out. Okay, so tuned EQ's settings. Let's go with tuned EQ first because they're both very similar. The difference is, of course, the bandwidth control, but there's also a secret function as well, which we'll get into, and that is the scale control. Okay, so bandwidth allows you to adjust the center frequency to notes in the musical scale and bandwidth of the frequency bands where more control is required or desired. So if you want to cut a broader range or perhaps a narrower range, you can adjust the bandwidth up or down. So adjusting the bandwidth down is going to narrow and focus on the center frequency of the band, which is useful for stopping, let's say, some ringing frequencies. Guys, I always say this: check your mixes in mono, because that's sometimes the best way to see and to hear where things are going wrong, right? And to feel what's actually cutting straight through the mix, through the mid of your mix. Okay, that's very important. All right, if you're going to push this meter, this dial up, you're going to widen the affected area or frequencies, and essentially you're going to affect either side a little more. So essentially, think of it as the Q perhaps of some EQs. You may be essentially widening the bell or narrowing that so you can really pinpoint. Now, I would say typically, if you're going to be dealing with wider bandwidths, you may want to be doing that to boost frequencies. Whereas if you're cutting, perhaps it's a little bit better to use more of a narrow point for the center of your frequency. Okay, so again, down is going to make it more narrow. Your changes are going to be more specific, and you can listen. And this is directly on the master, so it sounds really crunchy, right? And let's boost it up. And let's widen it. So we're making it wider. Now, to my ears, I can hear it's a little brighter. All right, we've got some boosting in the in the higher frequency ranges, and some cuts in the low mid frequency ranges here. So if I boost up the width, we're going to get more of this higher mid and the high. And if I narrow it, it's going to get very crunchy. Again, we're narrowing it really, perhaps a little bit too much. So I'm going to keep it right down the middle. Okay. Now, another beautiful thing about the tuned EQ is that we have the scale control. So use the scale notes, as you see down here, to set the root note frequencies of the EQ. So each band will be tuned to the root note of octaves in the scale. So I left mine at C, but watch this. Look at these numbers up here. You'll notice the frequency ranges will change per band as I adjust the root note. So watch this. Just take a look up here, and it's going to adjust the sound. It's going to affect the sound as well. Okay, so let's go back to C so we get that original sound back. Okay, so when you set the scale, for example, to A, right here, the third scale, the third octave is 440 hertz. Now, this is relevant for a few reasons, okay? you guys can you could choose to adjust this to the level of the fundamental frequencies for specific notes. So know the key of your song, know the key of your vocals, whatever you're working with, to EQ them, and you could set that right here with the scale control, and it will probably help you just a little bit more with what you're doing. So A, for example, if I go back to A, and we see this right here, right there, 440 hertz is essentially 440 hertz is a unit meaning per second. So what that means is 440 hertz refers to 440 vibrations per second. And essentially what this is A4, which is the A above middle C. All right. So quite simply, that's it, right? The two, graphic EQ and tuned EQ, are very similar. As you see, they represent different bands, but with these different 8 bands, but you have a little bit more, I guess, precision with tuned EQ. Again, I won't say one is better or worse than the next. I would definitely use them in unison to fine tune your mix as you need, right? So dive in, guys, find what balances, what works super well for you. And you'll notice that even if I try, let's say 80 hertz, 82 hertz, 80 hertz, 164, 162, they're very close, 375, 329. If we go to 10K and we go to 12K, 6K, you see that they're not necessarily even perfectly overlapping. So you can actually really fine tune and get deep down into your mix and the EQ to fine tune that, to perfect that sound, right, guys? So, you know, I hope you enjoyed this one. Check out the links in the description. I hope this is what you've been missing. I'll dive into more EQs in the future, I promise, because we've got another EQ that is even deeper, but I feel like maybe I've already touched that one. So check out, drop a comment, check out the previous videos. I'll link some cool videos for you guys. Again, if you want this track, head into the description of any video on this channel and you'll find a link to my NFT collection called Mega Blends. Essentially, every song was produced and mixed right in FL Studio Mobile. So I hope you guys like this one and hope you guys like all the ones that will be here to come. Enjoy this. I'll let this play for a bit and I'll check you guys in the next one again. Justin Blends, winning with blends. Let's do it, guys.